Hello, hello, and welcome to my first ever video presentation here on YouTube. Mate, I can't believe I sound like a blinking teacher. Please bear with me because I don't usually make these kind of videos. You probably know me from day in the life of a full-time van lifer on TikTok. That's possibly one avenue. I also lived in my van for a while. I've done YouTube videos over the years, and I started out on YouTube backpacking Southeast Asia. Then I moved over to buying and selling. This is why I'm making a guide for you. Now, buying and selling guide for 2025 beginners. I've messed that up already. How to make money flipping mostly used items. Before you click off this video and wonder what on earth I'm talking about, just bear with me while I settle into this because there's so many things going on my screen here. I was a full-time reseller for quite a long time. I considered making a course because loads of people like make a course on it, and I thought, you know what, young Lars would have really appreciated someone, in this case myself, now the future version, with this information to steer him in the right direction, to help him out and to make his life easier. So I thought, you know what, I will be that version for you. If I'm speaking in a way that resonates with you, it's because I'm speaking to young Lars, getting annoyed at him, ranting at him for all the mistakes he's made, so that hopefully you don't make the same mistakes I do. You make some money, and if you really want to escape the 9 to 5 and get the hell out of your job, this is the video for you. Right, so step one, I'm going to get straight into this and keep this really simple. I don't want this to be like some, presentation like at school where it's really, really boring. I've kept them really minimal. This is for beginners, so this has to be very simple. And if you get any questions along the way, feel free to leave them in the comments or just make notes as you go. And anything you can think of, I'm going to make a big, long series of videos just to help you out. Step one, create your accounts. Set them up for best success. Take action. I've said take action at the end because the amount of people that will watch this video and get to the end of it and go, oh, but how do I start? Oh, and they'll DM me and be like, should I do this? Should I do that? It's like, dude, have you set your accounts up yet? Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, and eBay. I say create all three. I haven't personally used Vinted, Depop, or very much on Etsy or Amazon. If you have any experience with those and you want to sell other types of products, get more into e-commerce, for example, on the Amazon side of things, it is technically all e-commerce, but Amazon's more, towards newer products, I would say. I have sold secondhand books on Amazon. I have sold a few things on Etsy, but very little, and I don't have a lot of understanding of any of the platforms. So I tend to just stick to Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, and eBay, and I've made thousands on all three platforms, so you don't need any of the other ones. And at the bottom, I've put track your sales and purchases for revenue and tax purposes. Now, I'm going to just make this easy for you from the get-go. This is a mistake that I made, and it took me so much more time at the end of it and gave me so much more back work. The way that I tracked my sales, started off with an Excel spreadsheet, and that was quite difficult and quite complicated. So the way you can make this really easy for yourself is probably sign up to QuickBooks. Now, I'm not a tax professional. I'm not going to give you any tax advice. I'll probably try and see if I can get an accountant on the channel if they want to, because it'd be very useful for you to understand you have to pay tax as a business, because technically, if you're looking to buy and sell with the intention of turning a profit, you are now qualified as a trader. Therefore, you have to, in the UK at least, pay tax. So keep in mind that if you really don't know what you're doing and it's stressing you out, like I used to, when I started out with all of this, I was so overstressed with the tax. I tried to find any reseller that would give any information, or buying and selling person, any information on the tax, and no one speaks about it because you're not supposed to. Now, the one thing I'll say to you is hire an accountant. Most of them offer a 15 to 20-minute conversation to start with where you can speak to them for free. They're not that expensive, but you don't need an expensive accountant. It's just literally basic bookkeeping. The software I now use and I'm turning over from, I used to use Xero, Xero, and now I use not a company, a software called QuickBooks. And it's really simple because you can just keep track of all your receipts, upload them on there, and I have to personally make receipts for secondhand things I get from, say, Facebook or Gumtree, because there's no real paper trail for it. So you have to just be very mindful that if you build this from the get-go in the way that you know you're going to do this a long time, just set it up with the tax purposes in mind from the get-go, and it'll make your life so much easier. Right, let's give a quick overview of Facebook Marketplace. Very well known, less packaging and posting / delivery of items compared to something like eBay. It's free to list, there's no fees, which I flip and love. See what I did there? Easy to get started. Everyone pretty much in this generation has some form of social media. If you're not on Facebook, mate, I don't know what the heck you've been doing. Lots of free visibility. At the moment, Facebook aren't charging you because it's one of the biggest social media platforms on the planet. Take take advantage of that. And there's an abundance of stock. There are so many things for sale on Facebook Marketplace. There is so many people listing all the time, and you can always be on there and just see loads of random things. If you like car boot sales, secondhand shops and stuff like that, Facebook Marketplace is the place you want to be, mate. Right, cons of Facebook Marketplace. It can sometimes take some time for Facebook to let you access it. I don't know the time frame. I don't know exactly how this works. I may try and make a video on it, but I don't know because I've not had the problem because I had a Facebook account from years ago. If you don't currently have one and you can't get yourself set up on Facebook Marketplace, consider that the account's got to be of a certain age to get going. So if you can't access Marketplace straight off the bat, that's why. There's loads of idiots, and I call them idiots, that will waste your time. They'll message you the most stupid questions you've ever heard of. They will tell you to turn up at a certain time to meet and things. They won't turn up, or you'll go to someone's address, they'll sell it to someone else. It's very rare that people will sell other items to other people, but it has happened to me, so just keep this in mind. There are an abundance of scams too, so please be somewhat savvy. If you're not any way, shape or form, technology savvy at all, find someone that isn't a technophobe that can help you out, especially if you're older. And I'm not saying this to be rude, like my parents, my grandparents, sometimes they do get these scams come in and they question me. Even friends of mine that are my age will message me and be like, do you think this is a scam? And I can spot it straight away because I've been doing this a long time. So the way you can kind of look into the scams is if you get a message from a buyer on Facebook, just click on their profile and have a look. If it's a brand new profile and they're from somewhere you've never heard of, realistically, it's probably going to be a scam. However, they have started cloning accounts that are from like the Western side of things, and they started using those accounts. So if they're really fresh accounts, just keep in mind if the language sounds a bit weird, just keep that in mind. And if anyone's trying to get you to send the item without payment up front and things like that, definitely don't do it. I'll make a video on scams because I think this is a huge one. Not to scare you, by all means, it's quite obvious. It's like, when people ring you up from the bank and stuff like that. It's fairly obvious, but I would like to make people aware of this. Lots of competition when trying to buy items. So obviously on Facebook, there's a lot of a stock, but there's also a lot of competition. So you're in competition with other resellers, you're in competition with other people that actually want the thing. So just keep that in mind. And certain items do not perform very well on here due to limited customer reach, meaning that Facebook Marketplace is more of like a local thing. You can create multiple accounts, you can have them in different areas, you can do all of that, absolutely, by all means, but it will limit what you can and can't sell. And I think like items anywhere under £10 don't really bother with because you're wasting your time. And by the time people have wasted your time, you've spent even more time being wasted. Gumtree pros. Free to list, like Facebook Marketplace. There's an abundance of stock, like Facebook Marketplace. Since their update, you can list up to 20 items, so 20 images. So there used to be a really old, Gumtree was like clunky and old and boring, and it wasn't very effective, and it was almost like a car boot sale on steroids online and really kind of all over the place. It was like a big jumbo sale, and you have to scroll through everything, because the key is, most people are lazy and they don't list things correctly. So the way you make money as a buying and selling reseller, flipper, whatever you want to call yourself, or as a little entrepreneur like I was, is you have to be able to play into the fact that people are lazy and you're willing to invest the time. That's why you make the money and they don't. So Gumtree have since fixed that, which is really helpful for you because now you can actually sort through items. It's a lot more modern. It's very much based off of Facebook Marketplace. And since their update, I love Gumtree now. Sometimes has buyers that aren't on Facebook. This is a big thing. The amount of people that will say, do this one thing, do that one thing, and they don't actually consider trying things. Now, as an entrepreneur, as someone that thinks outside the box, it's all about trying and testing for yourself. You don't know something to be true until you've tried it and tested it yourself. So don't take people's advice for it on the internet. By all means, this is a guide. This isn't a set in stone, do it like I do it. This is how I've done it over the years. This is my sort of system to basically introduce you to guide you in the right direction so you don't make all the mistakes that I made and waste loads of time. But if you can find a better way of doing it than me, mate, I want the students to outpass me. I would like to consider myself someone that is highly very good at buying and selling. Highly very good. Someone who's very good at buying and selling, but I'm not the best, and I'm never going to be the best because it's not something that I'm super obsessed with, if that makes sense, but I'd like to pass it on to you. Gives you access to older customers too. A lot of the older generation, they don't have Facebook. They don't sometimes even know how to use eBay, so they're on Gumtree because it's easy. They, like nephews, grandchildren set them up on Gumtree because it's easy and they can put a phone number in an email address. And pretty much everyone that doesn't use Facebook has Gumtree because it's a separate app and it's really easy to set up. So when you're selling and when you're buying, be on Gumtree too. Don't just like leave it in the corner, because the amount of sales I've had from Gumtree, in the thousands, has really, really kept me afloat when I needed the money. The cons of Gumtree, again, like Facebook, lots of competition. Adverts can get lost on the main page because it sometimes resembles a junk sale, as I was saying earlier. Sometimes it can actually look like a bit of a tip when you're scrolling through and there's just crap everywhere on there. It's clicking in the categories and typing in keywords and getting really good at this so that you can find the good stuff and you can have an eye for what does sell and what you want to take into stock as a reseller and not just go through all the crap. There's obviously an abundance of scams, as there are on all three platforms, really. And like Facebook, there are a lot of time wasters. On Gumtree, sadly, there's the same. You're going to get a lot of scammers / time wasters, so keep this in mind. Oh, and you need to renew adverts every other day to make listings more effective. I would say the algorithm's a little bit different on Gumtree. I'm not going to say I'm an algorithm expert because I'm not. I've just spent a lot of time on all platforms. And I would say that Facebook Marketplace's algorithm is considerably better than Gumtree's because it shows you what you're interested in. It's not really what's doing well in the area per se. It's more what you've spent your time looking at. So here's the thing. It's only just come to mind, sorry. If you're on Facebook Marketplace and you're looking at something that you don't actually want to flip, say you're looking for a new car, all Facebook's going to show you after that is cars. So be very mindful that if you're going to have, say, like a reseller account and you flip things within one niche, like DVDs, books, I don't know, furniture, CDs, anything like that, keep it in mind that if you use your main Facebook account for your business and then you use it for personal items too, you're going to be shown all sorts of things that you're not really interested in seeing to flip. So just maybe consider having two separate accounts. eBay Pros. eBay Pros? Oh yeah, we're on to eBay now. Huge national marketplace, so you can now sell nationally. You can on Gumtree, you can on Facebook too, but I would say that most people that are wanting to buy outside of your local area, for example, like in my case in Devon, there's going to be more people that are going to want to buy from eBay, all over the country as opposed to Facebook and Gumtree. You can obviously sell internationally too, depending on what you are selling. Now, my background is more to do with I'm a furniture flipper, so I've done a lot of higher end ticket, expensive items in the furniture niche because I did really well with it. I'll do future videos on this for you. So when I talk about these things, I quite loosely use all three, like eBay, Facebook, and Gumtree. But I want you to take as much value as you can away because I've gone through the ranks of, selling little knickknacks on eBay, selling little knickknacks on Facebook, selling loads of different things here and there. And I was a bit of a wheeler dealer, Del Boy, whatever you want to call me. So I've tried and tested lots of different things. And I quickly realized that if you want to make really good money doing this, at the end of the video, you'll see exactly how it works. But yeah, let's not go off topic. Most people on eBay are serious buyers ready to spend their money. So as opposed to Facebook, as opposed to Gumtree, where it's kind of like, there's like an illusionary possibility of a sale, on here, you are guaranteed a sale. If they're going to buy it, they're going to buy it. Huge stock acquisition opportunities like the other two. There's loads of stuff on eBay. And you're never going to have to stop looking because there's always something new being listed. Charge buyers up front to guarantee revenue. So as opposed to Facebook and Gumtree, like I was sort of saying earlier, there's people on there and you've got your credit card details, your bank details, and someone, when they buy it from you, they've already paid the money. And then before you've even had to send it, you've got the money in your account. So that can be a really nice way to guarantee that you're not going to get ripped off and not going to have your time wasted and not have to sell in person, giving you more control of your time. Facebook and Gumtree are more of like an in-person meetup, whether they come to your house or whether you go to someone else's house or you meet in a public place or you meet at a storage place. It's more to do with your time. And eBay, I do have to say that sometimes that can be quite a pro, like as I've put here in the pro bit. Meeting up with people can waste a lot of time, especially when they want to look around and tire kickers and stuff. Whereas on eBay, if you've done a good description and a good listing and they've bought it, they're normally going to just have bought it and that's that. eBay cons, fees to sell. Obviously, you've got to pay fees on there as opposed to eBay and Gumtree, Facebook and Gumtree, they're free. Have a limit on how much you can sell initially. Now, this is huge. For people wanting to get into this, I'll do an eBay buying and selling guide at some point, but you've only really got on a brand new account up to 10 items or £650 of revenue. I saw this in the forums. I don't know exactly if that's bang on to 2025, but it's a rough estimate. There's only a certain limitation on what you can start with. So when you start on eBay, make it a priority to list high in demand items and focus on getting your feedback and giving the customer the best experience possible so that you can unlock a quicker way of listing more stuff because otherwise you're limited on how much you can make. Items can get lost if not listed correctly under the right category. So if you don't list the items under the correct category, they will get just lost in the vast, amount of eBay stuff. Because unless someone's typing in, it's more keyword focused, I would say eBay, whereas Facebook and Gumtree tend to be more browser focused. So you just click on Facebook and you've got your top picks at the top. You go on to Gumtree and you can do by categories, but some people just like to go for sale and have a little scroll and see. Like if you're not really sure what you're in the market for, but you just want to have a little nosy, eBay's not quite that way, I would say. So if you list something incorrectly, just keep it in mind that it may just get lost and you won't get as much exposure to it. Obviously, like the other two, you get scams too, so you've really got to look out for these. And having to spend time packaging and posting, incurring further costs as well. Something to consider. Facebook, Gumtree, you're not really packaging and posting a lot of items. I have done the odd one, but most of the time I just stick to eBay to do that because it's a lot more trustworthy, it's quicker, it's hassle-free, and I'm guaranteed the payment before I have to, if that makes sense, it's just easier. I don't want to bombard you with too much because if you're a beginner, this is probably plenty for you to start with. Right, Step number 2, what items to sell. So you've got yourself set up on your accounts, I hope. I will make a guide, if you would like me to, on top tips for Facebook, top tips for starting on eBay, top tips for everything on how to set up profiles and optimize everything to get yourself going, because that is a big thing that a lot of people that I look at their accounts and think it could be something as simple as tweaking these couple of bits and they would be making way more and they would have a lot more exposure and a lot more sales, and it's a lot more fun that way. So I may do that for you in the future. Right, what items to sell? You either have lots of time or money, rarely both. And when you're starting out, if you're anything like I was, like young little Lars that had no money, but he had loads of time, sell everything. Everything and anything, even if it doesn't make you money and you lose a little bit, sell it all, because you're going to start to learn and build up this noggin full of knowledge of what is selling and what isn't selling. You won't have to just look at eBay reselling videos on YouTube or TikTok or wherever you tend to get them from. You're actually getting first hand exposure to the market, and that's what you want. You just want your hands in as many pies as you can get them in to start with. Begin with what you already have or can easily get. So around the house, what tit and tat have you got? Have you got an old phone, laptop, DVDs, books? What have you got? Clothes, anything you can think of that you no longer use, that you can use to sell on eBay or any of the other platforms to get yourself an initial little bit of capital to then build up a pot with. In-demand items sell faster, not always as much profit, but will make the game more exciting. So keep this in mind. When you're starting out, you want to sell things that are selling. You don't want to be waiting around for sales, because that's really, really boring. So branded, expensive, in-demand items will sell quicker, and they'll usually sell for a bit more, the branded stuff. But the aim of the game should be get it out there and get it sold, because it will give you so much momentum and so much excitement to keep going with this, to, you know, just keep flipping things, and it makes it so fun. It's like a game. Sell what is selling and sell simple items, at least at the start. Simple in the sense of something I want to make you aware of. A laptop, a phone, a bicycle, they have a lot of moving components. Something like a car, for example, has a lot of moving components. Something like for example, a coaster that I've got next to me, there is no motherboard in this. There is no tyres on this. This is literally see it is what you get. Unless it's got chips or damage, there's very little that can go wrong with this. So keep items that you're selling initially very basic and very simple. Something like selling a backpack over a video games console means that if there's any discrepancies when you send the video console out, say on eBay, or you don't actually test it properly, turns out it's got a glitch, then you've got to spend time servicing the customer on the back end. You waste so much time and it can be really disheartening initially. That's why I transitioned from phone flipping to bicycles to furniture, because furniture is what you see is what you get. There are cosmetic issues, there are things like woodworm to be aware of, but overall it's a very basic, simple, can't go wrong product, and it's an all year round thing. So those are something to think about. However, you're a beginner. This is what I did. It's not what you have to do. So make it fun, make it exciting, be willing to try things, be willing to have a go, sell everything, like I said, but be willing to keep it simple, just because you can build up money that little bit quicker. And consider things you're interested in, play the long game. I'm not that bothered by video games anymore. I used to be growing up, but now I'm not that interested in them. I'm not that bothered by DVDs. I'm not that bothered by musical equipment. I'm kind of very, for whatever reason, intrigued by furniture, mid-century, retro, antique furniture. It's really fascinating to me. I find the stories quite interesting, and obviously I now know what they sell for and how quick I can flip one, and I've got quite a good network of people that I can sell them to if I need to get rid of things quick. And it's really exciting for me to know that I can buy something for under a tenner and sell it for £300-400, and I'm quite good at that now. So because I did furniture for so many years, I started to learn what sold, and I started to build up, you know, my knowledge, so that when I went out in the field place, I could be quicker and compete with other people much quicker, so I'd have to look it up. So if you play the long game, you'll obviously make more in the long run, and having a really vast knowledge of different things means that you'll always be profitable. The one thing I see a lot of people on social media and, you know, YouTube course creators and everything teaching in the reselling space is to learn from the back of them. And they're giving you a almost done for you product, which, don't get me wrong, it's great, absolutely, because it gets you started. But you can give a man fish and he'll feed himself for a day, or you can teach a man to fish and he'll feed himself for life. My aim of the game is I want you to be better than me. I seriously do. I have no desire in saying, oh, I'm the teacher. No, no, no. I want you to do better than me. This is for young Lars, because young Lars had to figure all this shit out. It took years of trying and testing, of failing, of suffering, of not making things work, and then getting some success and then losing his money. I'm just trying to say to you, play the long game, because you'll see so much more success. Right, examples of what to sell. Things around your house, DVDs, books, video games, consoles, old laptops, headphones, camera equipment, pans, camping equipment, vehicle parts, bicycles, musical equipment, furniture, tools, clothes, shoes, backpacks, to name a few. These are examples I can think of things that I've got listed at the moment because I'm looking to move country soon. And just anything that I thought that I started with, because I started with phones and then I did a bit of DVDs, a bit of books. Books on Amazon do really well. You can buy them for sometimes as low as like a penny each, and sell them for like 5, 6 quid. The ROI on that is insane. It's just having the catalogue and backlog of stock, and buying and selling books, I can't say is very exciting for a lot of people. So you want to keep that in mind. I mean, you'll see in further slides how I've kind of broken this down for you, but be creative about what you would spend your money on buying. So what do you buy? Like, what are you interested in buying? And then start to learn how and why these things are worth money, like why they have value, why their value is the way that it is. Like, why is an iPhone 1,500 quid over an Android phone? Why is that the way that it is? Question it, start to learn why certain things fetch higher prices, why certain things secondhand seem to hold their money better than other things. Like, why do VW hold their money better than something like a Peugeot or a Citroen or a Renault, for example? I'm not saying that's entirely the case, but you know, after having a few vehicles in my life, I've learned that VW German, for example, like BMW or Mercedes, will hold its money far more than something like a Citroen ever will, for whatever reason, or a Renault. So just keep that in mind. Right, thinking of selling as mini investments. Everything I personally buy, brand new, I ensure serves a purpose in my life, holds its value or goes up in value after I'm using it. So I bought a Bluetooth speaker recently. I got it on Facebook. I say recently, it was like 6 months ago. A Bluetooth speaker. It was like a UE boom thing, Logitech thingy mabob. I paid 30 quid for it on Marketplace, and I used it because I was living in my van a few months ago. And I used it for about 3, 4 months. I paid 30 quid for it, and I recently sold it on eBay for 45. So I used it for 6 months and I made £15 profit on it. After fees, I didn't quite make 15 quid. But if I broke even on 8, 9 quid and I got 3 to 4 months use out of it, that's a good investment. Not saying you're always going to do this and always go into it with this, because then you'll just become a cheapskate. But if everything that you buy, you focus on what value you're getting from it, not just how much it's costing you, because people don't think about this, especially people that are in, you know, the average Joe that just is a consumer. I'm more of a producer of value, if that makes sense. So I think about my phone, for example. If I'm paying, 1,500 quid for my iPhone, what value is that giving to me other than having the latest flashy iPhone? So I can say, oh, look, Tim down the road, or my best mate, I've got the latest iPhone, status symbol. No, no, no. I can make content with it. I can use it to set up a business. Do you see where I'm going with this? Example, can I purchase, I've got an iPhone example here, look. Can I purchase a second-hand iPhone, get it for a good price, where I can use it for 6 months to a year, make money with it, and as I put in brackets, business, content creation, buying and selling, then be able to recoup my initial investment, or if I'm really good, flip it for a small profit. Now, I used to do this when I wanted an iPhone upgrade. I would spend hours looking, because I had a phone flipping background. I spent hours looking on Marketplace for the couple of models down. So say at the time it was like the iPhone 8, I would look at the 7 and the 6S or something like that, and see if I could get them for a really good price, so I could use them for 6 months, make money with them, and then flip them on afterwards for 50, 60 quid, pays for 3 or 4 months of my phone bill, and then I go and reinvest, and I've not lost any money, because most people go and buy the latest iPhone, use it for 2 years, and they sell it for a fraction of what they paid for it. Most phones cost me about £50 for 2 years of use. If I keep them for 2 years, like, I only lose 50 quid on them. So I buy them second hand, almost in brand new condition, because I've just found someone that's gone out and bought the new thing. It's a bit of like a catch-22 mentality, because I'm getting to the point in my career now where, like, my laptop is brand new, because I really do want to take the content seriously and start, I use this for my business essentially. So I bought this brand new. But things like that, if you can get them second hand, use them for a period of time and make money on them, job's a good mate. Having a balance of bread and butter items and long-term big payday items has been great for me. So bread and butter items, when I was doing furniture, a few items of furniture that I know will sell within the day or 2 days and turn over really quickly, like 10 into 50, 50 into 100, quick flips, fast cash, quick money, to keep the bills at bay, to keep everything running sweet. And then I've got other items where I could say, pay 20 quid and I'm going to sell them for 3, 4, 5, 6, sometimes 700 quid plus. I know that sounds crazy to you right now. If you're someone that's starting out, you're going, there's no way bro's done that. Believe what you want to believe. I'm grateful that you're questioning idiots on the internet, because you should. Most people on the internet are grifters and full of shit. So especially course sellers. I'm not saying people that sell courses are grifters, but there are so many people in the course selling space that are just full of shit. They don't give you any value and they're just quite happy to take your money. At the end of the day, it's a product, right? So just really keep that in mind if you are someone looking to get good at buying and selling or anything. You don't need any of this stuff. This just makes it easier. If you can learn from someone that's done the thing that you've done, it speeds it up. But a lot of people haven't done online what they say they've done, and then they lie to you, and then they just sell you a dream, and then they just take your money. So keep that in mind. Right, where to source more stock? Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups. This was brilliant to start with. I buy on Facebook groups and sell it on Gumtree, and buy on Gumtree and sell it on Facebook. And your actual Facebook feed, the amount of stuff I've had from people that I know is unbelievable. Gumtree, obviously, eBay on the auctions and the buy it now, make lots of offers, especially if it's at a price point where you're not quite sure. Just be willing to send out offers, man. If you send out enough, they'll come back to you. And then search through incorrect or lazy listings. There's so many people on eBay especially that don't take the time to take good pictures. They don't take the time to do anything properly. They just want it gone. They don't care. Make them an offer. Send them a DM first if you want to, like a direct message, a private message. And oftentimes you can just ask them, can I send a courier around or anything like that if you can't access the item, or just be willing to negotiate, in the private messages. Car boot sales, charity shops, secondhand shops, other markets, be creative here. Word of mouth. So when I was selling stuff like furniture, people would come to me and I'd give them my phone number, and then they would just give it to their friend and say, look, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that, I have this for sale, would you be interested? And the thing is, if they've come to me, the customers come to me to sell, there's no competition because they've come to me. They don't want the hassle. They don't want to list it. They don't want to do all of that. They just want someone that's going to give them the money, and you can get really good deals by doing that. Because I say to the person, look, this is what it's worth. This is what I'm going to give you because I'm essentially doing the work you don't want to do, and that's fine. But this is why I'm giving you so little, and they're perfectly fine with it because they know what the deal is. And the side of the road, dumps, recycling centres. I don't think I've put it on there, but skips. This sounds crazy, but I've had a few really good deals out of skips, and people be like, I'm not doing that. Mate, if you are someone that wants to buy and sell and make some money, one man's trash is another man's treasure. It doesn't matter where you get it from, as long as you can make some money, mate. That's where it's at. And make relationships with people in other lines of work. So I know people in real estate, I know people that are builders, plumbers, and there's people out there looking for things sometimes because I can pay them cash for the deal. If they can find me a really good piece of furniture, say I can get a £500 item furniture from someone that's a plumber, that's at someone's house and happens to know someone that's selling the thing, I'll give him 50 quid. I've not done this very often because it's quite hard to do, but if you get enough people knowing what you do and you establish yourself as someone that buys and sells and is consistent with it, you'll be amazed at how many people really want that extra income from you. Right, researching the price of items. Type what you're looking to research into eBay and sort the listings by sold and completed. Now, I can make a whole video on this if you want to. I will do a whole video on researching because I think this is a whole category of its own, and so many people do this wrong and they don't spend enough time here and wonder why they don't make any money. But the theory is type in what you're looking to into eBay, sort the listings by sold and completed. It's really easy to do. If you're not sure, just Google it. If you really have left this video going, I don't know how to do that. Google's your best friend. Ask ChatGPT. Be creative. Use your brain. You can't expect someone to give you everything. You really need to work for this. And yeah, just have a look through which listings are selling for how much and why are they selling for things, why are they selling for the things they're selling for. So get an average price, read the description, inspect the condition. So if yours is in better condition, you can probably price it higher. If yours is in worse condition, maybe price it a bit lower. Depends on messing around with the price will obviously be indicative of how quickly or how slowly a item or items do sell. Check other items listed on Facebook and Gumtree locally, so you can actually look with, you say you've got, I don't know, a bicycle to sell, just type in bicycles on Facebook Marketplace, see if you can find one similar. You obviously probably won't find exactly the same one because most people that list on Facebook or Gumtree are lazy and just put bicycle, even if, for example, it's a giant Talon something or other, or I don't know, another bicycle brand, a Trek Navigator 200. I've got one of those at the moment. That's what I'm thinking off the top of my head. You won't really find that very often. People are quite, unless it's an expensive thing, they're just like, yeah, bicycle, bike, want it gone, don't care. That's where you make the money though, by listing, finding the item that the person wants and putting it in front of the right person to make the money. Be willing to price items a little higher that you want, as you can always reduce the price. It's very rare that you can get more for something that you've priced lower, but it's a lot easier to bring the price down if it's not selling. Obviously, be mindful that you mess around with this because I've sold things for more than they're worth sometimes because someone's willing to pay it. Something is only really worth what the market says it is. So if something to you, for example, this coaster to you is nothing, worth nothing because you don't blink and need it. But if you're in the market for this exact coaster and there's only one available on the planet, you might pay £1,000,000 for this. I'm being very over the top with this. I'm just giving you an example. Why are iPhones worth 1,500 quid when they're so clearly not? It's the brand that makes them worth that, and the supply demand, the status of it all. Why is a Bugatti more expensive than, say, a Vauxhall Corsa? Obviously, there's better components in it. It's a more prestige item, but the idea is that it buys status, it buys you into something, so it does perceive a higher value. I don't know if these are brilliant examples, but to give you an idea, it's not always about the price. Secondhand stuff has a lot to do with price, but it's not always that. It's also, say, does one item provide delivery and one doesn't? So say you're selling exactly the same thing and you offer delivery but the other person doesn't, you might get the sale even if you're more expensive just because you provide the service, and people are lazy, as I've said earlier. So be really mindful about this. Can you see what I'm trying to do is get your juices in your brain flowing? I want you to start thinking, not just like a business owner, but start thinking like a little entrepreneur. Your game of this is just to try and problem solve as much as you can to make people's life easier. And that's how you'll make more money, because you're basically leading with value with everything that you do. Now, treat the research like a game, play it often. You'll often spot other valuable items researching for the one that you've been looking for. The amount of times that I've gone looking for some G-Plan unit or an Avalon unit or a piece of furniture or a DVD or a whatever I was selling at the time, and I couldn't find the one I was looking for, but I managed to find another one that I'd never heard of before that was worth hundreds of pounds. And then one day I'd be out and I'd be like, oh, that's that thing I saw the other day. That's worth that much money. Let me scoop that up. So when I say it's a game, spend time looking for the thing you're looking for. If you can't find an exact comp, doesn't mean it's not worth anything. It just means that one recently hasn't sold. Not every single item that's been sold on eBay, unless you use an external software, is still there for sale. So you may not actually see it. So sometimes you just got to take a punt and go, well, if it's under, say, £5, it's a no-brainer. If it's under 50 quid, you've got to be really reasonable about how much capital you have, how much knowledge you have, etc., etc. Use your brain cells. The amount of stuff that I've gone, I'm taking a punt on that, and it's paid off really well, is a lot. And also the occasional time I've gone, I'm going to take a punt on that, and it's not worked out, and I'm okay with it because I know now that doesn't work. But don't listen to people that go, that doesn't work. Just because it didn't work for them doesn't mean it won't work for you. Storage. Don't pay for storage unless you really have to for a while. If you're doing bigger items, I'm talking bicycles, furniture, sometimes cars or anything, whatever you're looking to flip, don't pay for storage unless you really have to. But please consider this. Consider that you have strange weirdos come to your house when selling locally. I personally don't sell from home anymore because I've had too many weirdos turn up, and strange creatures, I'm going to call them creatures because I think it's funny, lurking, just odd people. I don't want them knowing where I am home address wise, so I would just rent a storage place simply just so I can use it as a business address, or a like a storage or like a warehousey place, or have someone that's got a business where they don't mind me selling from. Be creative here, but when you're starting out, it won't really matter, especially with eBay. It's not as much of an issue, but consider that there are strange people on the planet, so just be mindful of that. Especially, I'll say this, I don't want to be like sexist, but I just want to throw it out there. If you're a woman or a single woman, be mindful of having people turn up to your house, because I've had ex-girlfriends when I was dating them at the time say they were selling like a piece of furniture or an old bicycle or something on Facebook, and I was like, let me be there. And there's been the occasional time where the gentleman or the person's been really rude, and it's just, you just think, is it really worth the gamble and the risk when you could just not have that problem? So just keep that in mind. I'm not saying do it, but just be mindful. Go and see storage places if you are to rent somewhere. So you've got storage containers, which are the shipping containers on the back of the boats that you see. Those are cheaper. I'll make a whole video on this, but you can also get storage lockers, which are more the, like you see in the storage rental places that they auction them off online and stuff like that. Those tend to be cheaper to start with because they often run 50% off deals in your local area. But in the long run, those run a lot more expensive than the containers do. And also keep in mind, how far away from home is it? The storage, if I'm talking more bigger items, or if you want to have like an actual eBay business and you don't want it to take up space in your home, you haven't got a garage, you don't know someone with a garage, and you need storage, just be mindful of how far away from home it is, because I actually recently shut down a whole business operation. It was 45 minutes away from my address, and every time someone wanted to come and see an item, it was blinking 45 minutes there, and if they didn't turn up, it's 45 minutes back. Wear and tear on my van, wear and tear on myself, on my time, and I just thought, you know what? It's not worth it. Having the extra space, I had 1,000 square feet, so it was a big operation. More videos on this in the future if you want them, but It was a mistake, and I settled for the place that I started with, which is 5 minutes up the road. If I need to go and do a sale, it's within walking distance, like it's a couple of miles. Like I can walk there if I really have to. If my van or my car at the time or something goes wrong, I can get there. And also consider how long items will take to sell, and consider leaving certain things to not build up piles of crap. So when you're buying and selling things, some people I see them on eBay and on YouTube all the time. eBay resellers, they've had things in there for years, and it's almost like a big car boot sale in their back garden or in their shed or in their garage, and it's just crap everywhere. I got really overwhelmed and severely, I'd say it took a toll on my mental health, seeing just stuff everywhere. I'm a minimalist, but if you are someone that struggles with stuff, make it really organized. As I've put at the bottom, how are you with mess? Have a good organizational system, because if you don't get this right and you don't organize it from day one, you have what's called the death pile of doom, where there's just stuff at the back of a container, back of a garage, back of the room where you've poured things into, and they don't get listed, nothing gets done with them, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So as an entrepreneur, as a buying and selling person, see it, fix it mentality always. I want you to go into this with the see it, fix it, get it going. Don't let things sit around for too long. Right, the important factors. We're nearly there now. We've got about 3 or 4 slides left. So if you've watched this far, you'll make it. If you haven't, well, it won't even really matter because you won't be here. If you're not able to sit through a presentation with actual information, then yeah, I wish you the best of luck with anything that you do, because our brain cells have been fried to smithereens by social media at the moment. High quality photos, lots of them. Maximize pictures. On Facebook, it's 10. Use them. If you can put a video of the item or items, do it. Gumtree now has listed it to 20, so you can actually get more pictures on there. Maximize it. If you can get 20, get 20. Ensure good lighting. Ensure no background distracting stuff. So if I'm trying to picture this panda here, I'm not going to picture it with my head in it. I'm not going to picture it with the sofa and this other stuff in the background, because it's very distracting. Preferably a nice white background or a grey or a dark background where this is highly easily visible. It's a cute little panda, isn't it? Make it obvious what it is that you're selling. Do you know the amount of stuff I see on Facebook where I humour myself, and I've showed parents and ex-girlfriends and things like that, of just adverts that I found that I think are hilarious, where it's someone trying to sell a bicycle and they've put it in their lounge next to a sofa. The sofa's got crap on it. There's like DVDs, guitars, kids' toys on the sofa. And it's like, what are they selling? Are they selling the sofa? Are they selling the bicycle? It's not very obvious. So make it obvious. What are you selling? Simple, well-written descriptions include information that the buyer will message you for, as it saves time. So if you're selling furniture, include the measurements, include whether you offer delivery, include any description, so discrepancies, are there any cosmetic damage, and stuff like that. The amount of people that don't do this, and then they get a DM or a message from someone asking them the question that they could have avoided if they'd put it in the description. Be mindful, though, also, that people that you put stuff in the description for will still message you and ask you the questions that are in the description. Don't be rude. The amount of times that people go, do you have the dimensions? And it's like, donut, they're literally in the description. I've put them there so you don't have to ask me this question, but I'll go and just take the manual labor, copy it, paste it, send it to them politely and kindly. Not everyone has, knows how Facebook works or how Gumtree works or how eBay works. Not everyone has the time to go and look there. I'm not trying to say make excuses for people, but if you want to make money, you are trying to problem solve. Be mindful that this is a customer experience. If you don't do customer service correctly, you probably won't make any money. Offering delivery and postage improves chances of making a sale. Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, if you're selling big ticket items and you can offer delivery, that will massively improve your chances of selling, because they are high barrier to entry products and items. Often if they're big, people don't have a car, people don't have a van, people don't have storage. They don't have the muscles even to move them. I'm not saying you need to be super jacked, but if it's like a single parent by themselves and they've got to be with their kids, they can't go moving big things of furniture. So just if you can offer that and you have the ability, a friend or a family member or anyone that can help you, makes you more money. And postage, if you can post items, obviously that will effectively improve the ability to get sales. If you say offer on like eBay and you're selling furniture and you don't deliver it and it's collection only, I've made money from people that will only offer collection. I'll go collect it, double the price on it, and then just offer delivery, and then I've made more money. So just be mindful of that. And as I've just put here, use respectful language when talking with people. You're not talking to your mate. You're not talking to the chav down the road. I say chav, and I probably shouldn't use that language. I think it's quite funny when I have people go, yo, bruv, is your bike still for sale, innit? It's like, dude, okay, well, I'm going to be respectful back, but I'm not really a fan of this language because it's probably someone that is not going to turn up and waste my time. And the amount of people on Facebook especially, that have weird things in their bios and weird things in their profile picture, and then they wonder why they don't get any sales, is because someone looks at their profile and goes, no thanks, I think I'll avoid that person. So be really respectful. If you were going to Apple, or you were going to go and meet the royal family, how do you think it would go? Obviously, you don't have to quite go royal family, like prim and proper, like, oh, darling, would one want like a cup of tea? You don't have to quite be like that, but more on the lines of respectful, polite, how your parents hopefully brought you up to be. Be polite, be respectful, and it will get you really far, okay? Don't use swear words, don't use abbreviated language, don't go crazy with the emojis. Maybe a little smiley face at the end of the odd message is good, but don't go over the top with all these. Just keep it simple, okay? Be quick. The amount of slow people in this game, they don't make any money because someone's beat them to the deal. Be quick. See it, do it. See it, fix it. If you see a deal and you know it's going to make money, don't be crazy to hammer the seller down on the price. Go and buy it. Offer more money. Be creative in how you go about getting more deals, because at the end of the day, if you don't get stock in, you're not making any money. If you're not listing any items, you're not making any money. The amount of people that by the time they've asked how to do something, the other person's gone and tried 10 different things, failed 10 different times and figured out loads of it, that person will succeed far more than the person that's asking all the time. Look, nothing in life is guaranteed. I'd love to say, do this one thing and this one thing will happen. It doesn't quite work like that with a lot of things, especially entrepreneurship. You are the creator. You are the person trying to build this business, or little hustle, or whatever you want it to be. This literally allowed me to escape the 9 to 5 for 5 years. Like, this got me out of working for someone and being told what to do, and really uncover. This is a whole video for another time, but just to give you some idea, this allowed me to awaken to the truth of the world, to live more nomadically, to do things that I wanted to do, to not be bound to the rat race. The rat race is different to escaping the 9 to 5, I would say, but it made me very aware of how the world actually works, because I was able to detach myself from trading quite literally time for money and see things in different limelight from value perspective of why people spend money on things and why people don't spend money on things. And basically the thing people really struggle with buying and selling is they don't see it for what it is. It's a way of, if you do it strategically and create a really good system and optimize that system over a long period of time, you're going from something where you're trading 1 hour of your time in a job, say for £10, 20 quid, 30 quid, 50, 60 for like people that are really well paid, to being able to make as much as you want in a day, depending on what you sell. And at the end, I'll show you that. It's literally the last, we're at the end of it pretty much now. Actually, no, we've got 2 more slides, hang fire. Step 6, gamify, but run it as a business. The more of play you make this, the more fun you'll have and the more you'll make. So the amount of people that used to tell me over the years, run it just like a business, do it like a business. Yes, absolutely. The back end has to be business focused. The logistics have to be done. Tax has to be done correctly. The numbers have to add up, etc., etc. But if you make this a game, treating it like a little bit of a hustle, like a little bit of a game, you'll make so much more money and have so much more fun and do better than everyone pretty much. Consider that there'll be more associated costs than you think. This is where I'll make a mistakes video soon. This is what really got me. Item costs, postage and delivery, listing fees, packaging costs, tape when you're packaging things. Even the pens you buy, the stickers, the postage stamps, storage, vehicle insurance, the fuel on the vehicle or vehicles, software for like the selling and the fees, like software as in like the tax stuff, whether you're using QuickBooks or Xero or anything like that. And then paying a tax professional to do your tax return if you're not capable of doing it yourself. All of these little costs, you don't think about it because you're going, I'm making money. I bought this for 5, I sold it for 20, I'm making money. But the margins get smaller and smaller the more you become aware of these costs. And when you're starting out, if you've literally got no storage fees, you're cycling everywhere, you're taking the bus places to get your stock, it won't matter as much. But as time goes on, start to realize that, yes, there is associated costs with running something like this. I'm trying to get myself in frame here. I don't think I am. Oh, there we go, it's better. So just keep that in mind. And don't listen to 9 to 5ers. I'm saying this politely, but I also mean it with a bit of a snarky side to it. They don't run businesses. They have no clue how the world works. I promise you they don't. Most people, even your parents, adults, I'm not saying don't listen to your parents. I'm simply saying be mindful that people that work regular jobs don't understand business a lot of the time because they've never ran one in their life. If they teach it at college, they don't understand business if they've not ran it. If they teach it at university, just because they teach business doesn't mean they understand it. They might understand the terminology. Terminology is easy. Practice is very different. I've done this for years. I'm not the best at it, but I'm definitely better than, I'd say, 95% of people that do it, because I've stuck it out and I've figured out what works and what doesn't work. Now, something to consider is be considerate of these people. You know, anyone that you know that works a 9 to 5, don't shit on people. I've done that before. I was Mr. Billy Big Boots when I started out. I'm making more money than you. I made £500 today and you only made this much. You're silly for going to your job, especially with parents. I used to argue with them quite a lot because I was a rebellious little kid. But one thing I will say is, they still don't really know how this works. A lot of people still don't understand how this really works. And a lot of people, unless they're in the business world, will very much just try and convince you to think like them, to be like them, so that their life makes sense. You don't have to justify it to anyone, but if someone is not doing the thing that you want to do, it's a good idea, I would say, to probably not listen to their advice most of the time. Be considerate that you might learn something, but don't necessarily take action on what people tell you to do if they're not doing the thing that you want to do. I got this quite a lot when I was saying I used to run my other channel, which was Lars Born, or Lars_Born, or at the Lars Born. I think I changed it to. It's like 12,500 subs. And I used to say to people when I was buying and selling bikes, I hired a bicycle mechanic so he could fix them for me. And the amount of comments that were like, why would you do that? And I'm like, well, look, because I can go and find 3 bikes in the time that it take me to fix that bike. I'm paying the guy 20 quid. How is that not a better return on my time? Oh no, you should do all of it. And I'm like, that's why you're broke and I'm not going to be. And I'm not trying to say that to be rude or disrespectful, but a lot of people don't realize how valuable their time is. They don't know how to allocate it effectively and correctly. If a job is beneath you, but you don't have the money, suck it up and get on with it. If you don't have the money to pay a bicycle mechanic, go on YouTube, learn how to fix it. If you don't have the capital, the resources to do these things at the moment, wear every single business hat you've got to wear until you're able to hire it out initially. Now, there's ruthless people on here that will say, don't do everything and your time's more valuable. But if you don't have the money, you can't spend it. If this is very much a, little hustle that you're trying to build, learn all of these different skills because they'll be invaluable to you down the line. But be mindful of the people that are like, don't try and grow the business, don't do it like this, don't do it like that. If they haven't done it themselves, don't listen to them because they don't know what is what. And then lastly, do you sell volume? Sorry, do you want to sell volume or higher ticket? I found an in-between to just be right. A lot of people on YouTube that do eBay want to sell hundreds and hundreds of items a month. They want to make loads of money by selling volume. One way to do it. Or high ticket, which is what I did, where I'm making 500-600 quid on a single item in a flip. If I'm buying, like one of my really good flips was I bought a sofa for £1, I won it on an eBay auction, and I sold it for £550 3 or 4 days later when I got it. It was locally, I only had to go up the road to get it. It was a quick clean, I say half an hour, because it was literally a wipe down. It wasn't like a full-on vax and clean. And then I offered delivery on it for free. By the time I'd paid the eBay listing, which was literally £1, the fuel to go and get it, the fuel to deliver it, and the quick cleaning, it cost me less than 50 quid to do all of that. I made £500 from a £1 investment. That's very rare, not going to happen every day, but that's high ticket in my opinion. There's been times where on the way back from picking up some furniture once, I bought 2 sofas for £80 and I sold those 2 weeks later after cleaning them. And this wasn't again, a vax job. It was a quick wipe down, throw a couple of the covers in the washing machine, wipe the frames down. And I sold those for £800 for the pair. I was already traveling through the place. I'd gone like a 4-hour road trip to get this first pickup on eBay that I won. And I saw them late at night when I was having a Nando's. And I saw them and was like, I'm going to scoop those up because no one knows what they are, but I do. Pick them up. I had to get them down 2 different flights of stairs in this big flat. And this guy gave me a hand, loaded them up. And I had to deliver them locally. It was an hour away. So I reckon I raked in maybe about just over £700 profit on those, which is insane. £700 profit for three hours work tops if we equate for a little bit of a diversion to go and get them from the Nando's. So high ticket, those don't sell all the time. There's been times I've bought something for 20 and I've sold it for £500-600, but I've had to wait a long time for it to sell. It's sat at the back of my container. That's what I would say is more like the long-term game, high ticket. That's where a lot of people want to be, but they don't sell every day and it gets boring and then you get disheartened, you lose motivation because you're not making any money. Whereas volume can be fun for that because you're making more. The downside to it is you're not making as much because you're having to sell so much of it and you're always working. So find a sweet spot. Initially, do it all, sell it all, have a go, play the game. You're going to be on eBay, sadly, limited to what you can and can't list, but have fun with it. Try everything, but find that sweet spot that works for you. You want enough bread and butter coming in so that if you want to do it full time, you can do it full time. If you want to do it part time, you can do it excuse me, part-time. If you want it to just be a little side hustle and have a bit of fun, none of that really matters. Just have fun, learn how to sell things, and you'll have a great time. But if you want to do this to escape the 9 to 5 or build yourself a profitable business in 2025 moving forward, the secondhand market's only getting bigger because things are becoming less and less readily available. And with, you know, the 2020 thing that happened in the world, things have still kind of yet to get back to where they were, and people have less and less money because of the economy. So I'd say secondhand things are actually going up in value. So it's a really good skill to learn if you can learn this. I won't ever go broke now, thankfully, because I've learned how to do this, and it's saved me so many times when I tried to make it as a full-time content creator and I couldn't succeed. I went back to the hustle. This has been my sole earner for 5 years, and it's made me so much money. It's allowed me to travel and go to places and meet people and buy my time back. So from the age of about 20, well, I started before, but if we say from the age of about 20 to 20, what am I now, 26, I've been able to not have to work full-time jobs because if I did, I chose to do the odd one because it was fun. I wanted to work in a bar or whatever. But overall, I get to choose my time, which is something that a lot of people can't do because business online has been so overly complicated by all these stupid grifters that are selling you stupid nonsense and letting you buy into all this non-value content so that they can make a bag off of the back of your hard work. In this case, they're just stealing your attention, and they're getting paid handsomely from YouTube, from the course selling, from everything that they're doing, and you're not getting anywhere. I've been there, I've done that. I've spent years on social media learning it as a consumer and, you know, enjoying it. And I've spent time as a producer producing content, and I've seen it from both coins. I've met influencers, I've met content creators. Most of them are full of shit. Most of the industries that you see are just very much solve problems that were created quite literally by the industry, especially the self-help niche. So if you want to get, and business too, if you want to get into anything that makes money, this is the one thing that I've always stuck to, that's always got me out of a situation if I needed to. You can make money as quick as today. I will say another thing before we get to final thoughts, although I'll skip the thing just so you don't get bored. You don't need any money to start. You don't need a vehicle to start. You don't need storage to start. You don't need stock to start. You can start with what you have. When I say you don't need stock to start, you can sell what you've already got, like secondhand things, clothes, shoes, whatever you've got around the house. Your age is not going to limit you. Be an entrepreneur, think outside the box. If you don't have a vehicle, can you take the bus? Can mum and dad take you? Can your friend and family member take you? Do you have someone that you know with a man with a van that can help you? Be sensible, think outside the box, be creative, use your noggin. This is what you're supposed to be doing. This is why I've made this work and a lot of people haven't. Right, final thoughts. What do you need help with? So this channel is very much to help young Lars, but I'm way past that now because I think young Lars needed help 6 years ago. I put off making this because I wanted to be a perfectionist and create ultimately perfect, polished, you know, either a course or a content channel. And I don't really know what people struggle with. So it may sound dumb to you, but leave it in the comments. I don't reply to DMs. I haven't got time for all that. I've got other projects I'm working on, but I want this to be an invaluable resource for you, or valuable resource, however you say it, so that you can come back to it and it's free. I don't want to charge you any money because I know that might sound like in this economy where what's he actually going to sell us? Down the line, I'm going to build my own company. I don't know what I'm going to sell yet, whether I go into physical products or digital products or coaching. At the moment, I very much think I've got all of this information in my brain. The thought of making a course does my head in, and I'm like, I'm not going to do it realistically because I don't think that I should charge people for this information. They can piece it together, but I would like to offer you as much value as humanly possible so that you can get results and make money, free yourself, get on the path to wherever it is you want to go. Or if you need a bit of extra income and you're struggling to feed your family, I hear you. Do this. It will change your life. It changed mine. But what limiting beliefs do you have? What fears do you have that stop you? And I'll leave you with, watch other resellers and flippers do their thing to learn, like on YouTube, TikTok, whatever, but know that you'll learn far more doing than watching. If you're someone that is just consuming content going, I'd love to do that, I'd love to do that, and you haven't taken action yet, you're going to be a loser. I promise you, the more you sit here and watch, I'm glad, if you've made it this far, flipping proud of you. Again, no pun intended, but I'm so proud of you. But get off this video. There is plenty here to get you going. You do not need anything further than this, because at the end of the day, the more you put in time-wise is the more that you'll make, not directly proportionate to the time you invest, but the skills that you learn to increase your income. The only real things that are going to stop you from making really good money in this game are limiting beliefs around money. So if you have a bad relationship with money, if you're coming from a lack mentality rather than an abundance one, I'll teach this in future videos because it got me in a really dark place for a very, very long time and I didn't really know how to get out of it. Can you find enough stock, and can you get over the not entrepreneur, the employee mindset of trading your time for money, where you break out of that, oh, my time's worth 10, 20 quid, I'm guaranteed my 12 to 1500 pounds a month from my job. None of this is guaranteed. That's what scares a lot of people. In that case, if you're still afraid, keep your job, don't quit it yet. Figure out how you can basically pass your monthly paycheck with this for an extended period of time, 3 to 6 months. Play it safe, but have fun learning about this in your free time. And then when you get to a point where you go making 3, 4 times more, you've got a really nice nest egg saved up savings wise, something I never did. I just spent up to the wire, even when I made more. Lifestyle inflation improved. You'll be winning. So like anything in life, the more you invest into something, the more skin in the game you've got, the more you're going to want to get your time or investment back because you've put effort into it. Be mindful of that and be proud if you've made it this far in the video because most people wouldn't. And please, for the sake of it, have fun. Like, life is out there for the taking if you're willing to put the work in, if you're willing to give it a go, if you're willing to be different, you're willing to suffer, to be weak when you're not strong, to feel strong, to quite literally go through the journey. Do it. And if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll be sure to make a video on it for you. Go get it.